I never expected a routine assignment to turn into the strangest and most life-altering experience of my life. It began on the research station Orpheus 12, orbiting the uncharted exoplanet Nyxera, a world famous for its unusual electromagnetic storms and bioluminescent flora. My job was simple: catalogue and observe alien life forms recently discovered on the planet's surface. I had been warned that contact with intelligent beings was unlikely, but the Council insisted on sending human observers anyway. I wasn't prepared for her. The first encounter. It was my third week on Nyxera. The storm season had begun, blanketing the planet in surreal violet lightning and waves of electromagnetic interference that rendered most of our scanning equipment useless. I was standing at the edge of a glowing forest, my exosuit humming with protective energy shielding, scanning a colony of luminescent insects, when I saw her. She stepped out of the mist as if she had always been part of the storm. Her skin shimmered in shades of violet and silver, reflecting the storm's lightning like liquid metal. Her eyes were the strangest part, not simply in color, but in intensity. They weren't just watching, they seemed to see me, my thoughts, my fears, my curiosity. I froze. My scanner slipped from my grip, and my hand trembled. I had been trained to approach cautiously, but something primal rooted me in place. I was staring. Then she caught me. Her lips curved in a slight, almost amused smile. "You've been staring," she said. Her voice was melodic, almost vibrating in resonance with the air around her. I flinched, startled not only by the recognition but by the fact that I understood her perfectly. My translators were still offline due to the storm, yet somehow, I comprehended every word. I didn't mean I began, but she raised a hand. "Relax," she said. "I'm not here to harm you." Few humans have the courage to stare long enough to notice me properly. Her words sent a shiver down my spine. This was no ordinary alien encounter. She seemed to have an almost telepathic understanding, sensing the emotions behind my gaze. Learning to communicate. Over the next several days, we established a tentative communication method. She introduced herself as Ilara, an emissary from a nomadic species that had observed Nyxera for centuries. Her kind existed in a delicate symbiosis with the planet, their bodies capable of manipulating electromagnetic fields and communicating through subtle resonances in the air. I was both fascinated and intimidated. My research focused on cataloging life, not communing with it. Yet Ilara's presence demanded more than observation, she demanded understanding. She showed me the forest in ways I couldn't have imagined. Trees that glowed in harmonic sequences to communicate with one another, rivers that pulsed with electrical currents capable of guiding small creatures, and plants that thrived only when touched by certain frequencies of sound. She moved through it all with fluid grace, as if the planet itself obeyed her. One evening, as the twin moons of Nyxera reflected off the luminescent canopy, I found myself staring again. Not out of fear or hesitation this time, but out of wonder. Ilara noticed, as always. "You stare because you are curious," she said, a hint of amusement in her voice. "Curiosity is dangerous here. The planet, it can feel hesitation." I trailed off, embarrassed. "I've never seen anything like this. You're incredible." She laughed softly. A sound like the hum of electricity, simultaneously soothing and sharp. "You humans are always so blunt. Perhaps that is why few of you survive encounters with my kind. The danger unfolds." Our bond strengthened quickly, but the situation on Nyxera was far from safe. Electromagnetic storms became more violent each day, and the Council had begun pressing for data. My reports, however, focused less on scientific measurements and more on Ilara herself, her movements, her intelligence, and, most subtly, her responses to me. Then the warnings arrived. Other human teams had discovered a hidden network of predators, creatures capable of sensing emotions and drawn to fear. Ilara's telepathic sensitivity made her a prime target. She warned me that the storms were not the only danger we faced. One night, as the violet lightning raged above us, we were attacked. Shadows slithered through the glowing forest, silent and fast, their forms barely visible but their intent clear. I froze in fear, but Ilara did not. She raised her hands, sending pulses of electromagnetic energy through the ground. The predators recoiled, howling in frustration. "You trust me," she said, her eyes locking onto mine. "Do not falter. Your fear feeds them." I swallowed hard, forcing myself to move. Side by side, we defended the forest. Her energy resonated with mine, forming a protective barrier that allowed us to escape deeper into the luminescent canopy. By dawn, the predators had fled, and the forest lay silent, but the storm still raged. An unexpected connection. Days turned into weeks. I began to understand Ilara's nature in ways I hadn't anticipated. She was a teacher, yes, but also a mirror of my own humanity. She sensed my loneliness, the memories of friends and family I had left behind, the yearning for connection that had brought me to the edge of human exploration in the first place. "You are different," she said one night as we rested beneath a tree that pulsed softly with violet light. "Your kind often tries to dominate what you do not understand. You observe, yes, but you do so with respect. That is rare." I looked at her, feeling a strange heat of gratitude and something more. My professional training urged me to maintain boundaries, but my human instincts rebelled. I wanted to know her more deeply, to connect in ways beyond words or data. Then, without warning, she placed her hand on my arm. The contact was light, almost imperceptible, yet it sent a cascade of sensations through me. Her touch seemed to harmonize with my nervous system, calming my fear, heightening my awareness, and filling me with an almost overwhelming sense of empathy. "I can feel your thoughts," she said softly. "Your hesitation, your curiosity, your longing. Do not fear it." "I do not." Her response shocked me not because it was intimate, but because it was entirely unexpected. She was acknowledging my emotions without judgment, without shame, without the constraints of societal rules that humans often clung to. The Council's interference. Of course, the Council did not approve of this bond. Communications from headquarters became insistent. They demanded immediate extraction of both me and Ilara, citing her status as an unregistered life form. They warned that failure to comply would result in quarantine and disciplinary action. I refused. "I will not leave," I told them. "Not while she's still in danger." Ilara's eyes glimmered, almost proud. "You have chosen to risk yourself for me. That is rare indeed." The decision forced us into hiding. We retreated to a hidden valley on Nixera, where bioluminescent flora grew in thick canopies, concealing us from scanners. There, for the first time, we were free from immediate threat. But freedom came with responsibility. Ilara taught me to harness the planet's energy, to move in harmony with the electromagnetic fields, and even to communicate without words through touch, thought, and resonance. The final confrontation. The Council eventually tracked us down, sending a team equipped with electromagnetic dampeners, weapons, and containment devices. Their goal was to capture Ilara by force. We were ready. The valley itself became our ally. Every tree, every river, every glowing plant seemed to respond to Ilara's presence. The Council's squad stepped into the field only to find themselves immobilized by pulses of energy we channeled together. I moved as one with her, sensing her emotions, anticipating threats, and responding in perfect synchronization. "You are stronger than you realize," Ilara whispered to me as we fended off the intruders. "But strength alone is meaningless without trust." By the end of the confrontation, the Council had retreated, their instruments failing to function in the harmonized energy field we had created. Ilara and I were victorious, but the ordeal had cemented our bond. I no longer viewed her as an alien or a subject of study. She was a companion, a partner, and, in a way I struggled to define, a mirror of the human heart. A new beginning. Months passed, and we established a careful routine. I documented Nyxera's life forms, but my focus was no longer purely scientific. Ilara and I learned from each other. I taught her about humanity, and she taught me about harmony, resonance, and the subtle interplay of life energies. One evening, under the twin moon's gentle glow, I found myself staring again at her. Her eyes caught mine, and this time, I didn't hide it. She smiled, not with judgment, but with understanding. "You've stared at me many times," she said softly, "and each time, you saw more than what is visible. That is the rarest gift a human can give." I don't know what to say," I admitted. "Then do not say anything," she replied, stepping closer. "Sometimes, understanding is beyond words. It is in presence, in acknowledgement, in connection." I realized then that the shock I had felt when she first responded to my stare was nothing compared to the revelation I felt now. Connection transcended species, words, and even logic. It was raw, profound, and life-altering. We stood together, watching Nyxera pulse with life. I understood something I had never understood before. The universe was vast, unpredictable, and at times terrifying. Yet, in its chaos, it offered moments of clarity, of empathy, of connection that no data could ever quantify. Ilara was one such moment. And for the first time in my career, in my life, I felt truly awake.